But a different direction, thinking about cybersecurity, no VPNs, for example. Okay, so I got NordVPN. That's one of the many that are out there,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
2 years ago now, it was, it's all the craze. You got to get the VPNs or something, and I don't really even know why, but it's important, and that's what I want to ask you about. So now my 2 year subscription is almost done, and it's asking if I want to renew, right?
Mm.
And so now I'm wondering, okay, should I renew? Is it actually helping me? Something like this, is this important, or or do I just need, for example, like just a regular antivirus? Like I don't have a regular antivirus; it's just whatever's on the computer. Now also I have NordVPN, VPNs. Uh, are they good? Are they bad? Are they overrated? Are they underrated? Or like, is there a point? Is there not a point? Explain it to me in
You
layman's terms, like for the
not
mere mortals like us.
now that you mention it, I'm realizing that what we really need, and it may already exist, I've never searched, is for an explainer that uh, it just gets to the truth of it. And you're going to have a hard time finding that explainer because almost everybody who does really good technology podcasts has ExpressVPN or NordVPN as their sponsor.
Yeah.
So it's like your doctor's office that gets paid on a certain kind of drug, and then at some point you want to tell your patients about this particular drug not being good or whatever, right? You'd have a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And that's probably why it hasn't been done. We do not have a horse in this race. So I can tell you
Okay.
about a VPN from a truth perspective
Okay.
that is completely uncolored. Okay. So a VPN is all about um, providing a tunnel within that stream of information. So the way to think about it is that you maybe we should talk about what it does versus what it doesn't do.
Hmm.
What it does do is it provides the transit to be encrypted, meaning that from your phone, if that's where the VPN is, to your Rogers or Bell or cell tower and beyond, Rogers has no idea what is in each packet that you're sending over that tunnel. So you're
Okay.
basically getting privacy from Rogers, privacy from Bell, from Eastlink, whoever the internet service provider is.
Okay.
But all you're doing is you're shifting that privacy to whoever owns that IP address at the other end of your VPN tunnel. So you're not getting any more privacy, you're shifting your privacy from the ISP you're paying to someone else that you might be paying.
Yeah. So rather than Rogers knowing um, whatever is happening or what
Yeah,
I'm sending or receiving, now this other stranger
yeah,
that we would call this stranger is now receiving that
exactly.
information.
Right. So a lot of the advertisements by VPN providers are that you're getting additional privacy, but what you need to think about is that you're shifting your privacy.
Hmm.
You're not getting more.
So the
It's just going
question,
elsewhere.
so I guess the question is, who do I trust more? Kind of is
Correct.
okay.
Choose your trust. In fact, I'm doing a webinar for one of our technology partners, and if you do a search on LinkedIn within the next weeks, we're calling it "To Trust or Not to Trust." That is the question,
Hmm.
because you're basically choosing whom to trust on that. And so that's one aspect. The other thing that it does is that when you're visiting a website, that website, by the nature of the technology of the internet, knows the IP address that you're coming from. So instead of it being your Eastlink or Bell IP, it's now going to be a NordVPN IP address that they see at the other end. The question is that IP address meaningful enough? It is meaningful if they're correlating with a whole bunch of other data, and data is the new oil. We've heard that now for a decade. Though there are data brokers that correlate this IP address does a lot of these kind of searches. In fact, if I'm looking as a commercial provider, tell me someone that's looking for a certain kind of transport truck, let's say. Then there's actually service providers out there that say, well, we're getting transport truck searches on our website from these enterprise IP addresses. So there is still some metric that's tied to the origin of an IP address. So that is something that you are changing. you're changing it from your Eastlink, your Bell IP to NordVPN or ExpressVPN when you visit a certain site. Do you care? Maybe you do. Again, it's whether you want to have that correlated back to your actual service provider or to your VPN provider. Then there's the aspect of a geographic location. So there's certain services, like if you like watching the Leafs and you have an internet connection in Ontario and the Leafs have a home game, it might be a blocked out game on Sportsnet. It's like, oh, that sucks. Then you make a VPN connection to Montreal, and now you can watch the game, right?
Yeah.
So that is a use case that is probably one of the few, I would say, almost like a real use case. Because if you're paying for a Sportsnet subscription, they're only making it the determination where you are based on your IP address. Well, then just change that.
Yeah,
But
so you can
if you're
watch things depending on which location you are.
right,
Things are blocked everywhere. Yeah.
correct. And we're a hockey family, and we
Okay.
like watching Leafs.
Okay.
And so, and so this is a use case. However, I would never ever put a VPN on my phone or on my computer.
Okay.
By the nature of doing that, I am now losing control over having any sort of gateway level filtering for content filtering. And the business that I'm in and the family that I'm responsible to take care of, we have that in place in the home. So what we do is we put the VPN on the outside of the router so that all of the policies and the filtering and security features still apply. So the VPN is now available to a certain Wi-Fi network. So now there's more than one Wi-Fi network. One Wi-Fi runs over VPN, but not by the phones or computers running a VPN, but the router doing a VPN.
Okay.
So the proper way to do it, and I'm getting somewhat technical here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's not,
I'm trying to keep up.
and it's not within the reach of the average person.
Yeah.
But I am hoping that someone's going to take that idea and make it so that you can just push a button and make that happen, because that would be the way to do it right. And there are tools. So for example, if you use an open source router software like pfSense and you use something like ExpressVPN or NordVPN account, there are documents online on how to do it on the router. Now that one NordVPN or ExpressVPN connection can support an entire network. That's the way to do it right. If you want that one feature of it being a different IP address, you can get that IP address without losing all the other privacy functionality.
Okay, so rather than, for example, I have a couple of computers here now, I have a phone here now, and it's all, for example, like I have NordVPN on my phone, and I also have it on my laptop. And so what you're saying is rather than having it on your personal devices, it should be off of the personal devices and just on the central location, which would be the router itself.
That's right.
And from that point on, it should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you get all the value of a VPN and all the value if you're whatever internal filtering that you're doing. You may have parental controls on the router, because the moment you run a VPN on the phone, all those controls are handed over to the other end of the VPN endpoint, and you don't want to do that. So you have it understood correctly.